You can't have a fast movie without a selection of the world's sickest automobiles. Whether it's Dom's latest and greatest Charger, my flashy Lambo, or Letty's Corvette, each character showcases our own style on the streets.
Let's roll.
We have some of the newest, fastest, most technologically advanced vehicles on planet Earth.
We had cars coming from California, we had cars coming from New York, Florida.
Dennis went out to the best car owners in the country, and everybody loves to show off their cars, especially collectors.
Trying to top the last movie is always the biggest challenge in this franchise, but I feel that we pulled it off. There's far more many hero cars. It's like double the last movie. It really is. I mean, because each sequence has more characters and more action. Fast 8, you're gonna see a car like you've never seen before. Above and beyond looks, capabilities, powertrain, without a doubt, the best Fast and Furious Charger ever.
I'm blessed to be associated with Dodge and the most iconic car in history. The audience has its own relationship to Dodge. I think that's a testament to the way that the car has been incorporated and thought about from a story perspective throughout the saga.
In this installment, we reveal some really cool Dodge cars. This time around, we got the Tantrum Charger. I mean, it's over the top and then some. It's really just an extension of his character. Primarily, the car is made out of carbon fiber, just unbelievable workmanship. And it has 2,000 horsepower. It has a Mercruiser motor in it, twin turbocharged. And then it's driving a 71 GTX, so it's really the next body style of the GTX that he had in 7. To me, it said Dom all over because you can put a gigantic rear tire. It has huge rear wheel wells in it. So we were able to put a tire that was, I think, 16 inches wide on a 20-inch wheel. And that is really a key element because of what he's doing in this sequence. He's dragging these cars. It had to be a lot of rubber on the ground to sell that. Having this Dodge Demon is just such an asset to the film. I got to give credit to the Universal team and the Dodge security team that they've been able to keep this under wraps. I mean, it's just incredible.
Very limited edition of these cars. I think it's the fastest street car ever made.
This is a car that's going to produce over 800 horsepower. It's basically ready for the drag strip. You get it from the dealer, and you could literally drive to the drag strip. You open the trunk. There's 2 skinny, lightweight, front drag tires. The car comes with sticky drag radials in the back. You feel the car will be capable of sub 10-second times in the quarter mile. It's going to be that fast. Quite a bit goes into converting them over to the Demon. Brake upgrades, suspension upgrades, wheels, tires, body modifications, interior, dash. Car will be released right at the release of the film. What a perfect joint venture.
I think Dodge really stepped up on Fast 8. They have been wonderful and they have been very supportive, but the bar was set high. The great thing is going into it with people that all believe they can achieve that next level.
The horsepower, the quality level, I mean, it's just unbelievable workmanship. I mean, obviously the Charger always comes back, but I want to mix it up a little bit. We got the Ice Charger. It's pretty wild, blasting through the snow.
Dom's Ice Charger is pretty spectacular.
I think it delivers everything you've grown to be accustomed to in a Fast and Furious film.
To build an all-wheel drive road car from scratch was really exciting. It's definitely one of a kind. You always feel like you've encountered every type of a picture car challenge over the decade of doing this franchise, but Iceland definitely brought about some new ones. When we learned that we're going to be on the ice, all-wheel drive was a definite necessity. I just love the concept of seeing all 4 tires spinning, the snow blowing off each wheel. That's something different. That's something that we've never done. 500 plus horsepower. When I say all-wheel drive, I mean it's a locker in the back, a locker in the front, transfer case is lock solid. I mean, it's all 4 tires are spinning. The car's capable of 130 miles an hour. Brad Kelly, our tire guy, spent literally months researching tire studding, tire grooving, tire cables, tire chains. We have tires that are studded differently for different portions of its sequence. The balance of the car is achieved by, basically the motor sits where the passenger would sit. The transfer case is behind the driver. I don't think you could ask for a more extreme environment to have a car working. Block heater and defroster for the stunt driver, insulation. This particular car is for jumping. There's a sequence where the car comes flying through the air and it lands on the ice. A lot of impacts, you name it. can tell by the trophy truck style, box lower control arms, tubular upper arms, the massive uniball ball joints. This car has about 18 inches of travel in the front and about 22 inches of travel in the back. If you just want to see what goes into the suspension of a jump car, that's pure off-road race truck right there. Nothing, of course, is off the shelf. Everything's built from scratch, everything's machined. I love building those cars where there's no limit. Probably the most labor-intensive car we've ever built. When Gary came on, he was great. He loved what we were building. He had some visions of his own. I love the ideas that he contributed, one of them being Letty's Corvette.
My favorite car in the movie is the 1966 Corvette.
He goes, man, I love this car. I said, you know what, you're right, Gary, that thing is great. But it's a very expensive car. We went on a little spending spree, we bought some Corvettes. This is Letty's Corvette. This is an amazing car. It's a true race car. It's a wide body car, handmade, flared fenders, manual transmission, 600 horsepower, massive wheels, massive brakes.
I put aftermarket black rims on it, low profile tires, painted it fire engine red, and it feels kind of current, even though it's a vintage vehicle.
Modified them, took molds off of Brian's car for the fenders, got the paint code from him, the suspension modifications, and replicated what he actually races on the track. It's a true performance car. This car was so perfect that we're actually making molds of the quarter panels, front fenders, so we can create our own parts to modify our own vents. We have Roman's car, the Bentley. We look at it, it just says Roman all over it, and that's what he'll be driving in the second act. It's a Bentley GT twin turbo. It has the two-tone paint job, pearl white and the maroon. Perfect for his character, and like I said, I think it fits his taste as well.
Big Sexy coming through.
Didn't have to do that many modifications, some computers, some disabling of things. Didn't have to transplant the motors, we just kind of left them as is. We made the air ride suspension basically a manual system where we could inflate or deflate or adjust ride heights for, they're going over curves, up all sorts of things.
No, 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 no. This is my Bentley. Ow! No! No!
The biggest surprise to everybody in Iceland was the fact that we brought 3 running Lamborghinis to Iceland, and we returned with 3 running Lamborghinis.
Why are they shooting at me? I don't know. Maybe because you're in an orange Lamborghini. Shut up, Cash.
The writers and the director just felt that Roma should have a car that is just really out of place, just the wrong car for the environment.
No, 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 no. This is not good. Oh! What's the matter, Roman?
You loving that Lambo now?
The Lamborghini seemed to be a good one because the Lamborghini actually is all-wheel drive. It pulled through. The cars that you see driving on the ice, they're actual Lamborghinis. Everyone always says that. Is that a kit car, But no, they're real Lamborghinis. The ice isn't flat, There's literally 4-inch, 5-inch, 6-inch gaps. It's like hitting curbs out there, The ice constantly shifts, it fractures. Once again, I can't say enough about that car because it's astonishing the amount of abuse that it went through. It got to the point where we couldn't actually find any more front spoilers for the car, so we had to make a mold and build our own so we could constantly put a new nose on the car. Yeah, Tyrese loved that car.
Letty picked a Rally Fighter, which is a car built in the USA that's made for kind of off-road rally racing.
It's pretty much ready to go. It's already an off-road car. It's extremely durable. The only thing it was lacking was all-wheel drive. We basically bought 4 Rally Fighters. We converted 2 of them to all-wheel drive. Posi, locker in the back, throw a set of studded tires on it, and it was good to go. It does a lot of jumps, a lot of impacts. They were right at home in the environment we were in. We definitely put it through its paces and really had 0 failures.
It's a big movie. It's an exciting movie. There's a lot of things happening.
In this installment, we put Hobbs in a 1-ton Dodge crew cab long bed.
Where you going? This is crazy.
This is a moment where audiences are gonna go crazy because they're having fun.
To outfit this for the snow and the ice, we actually equipped that with Mat Tracks, which is basically 4 individual tracks instead of having 4 wheels on it. It gave the vehicle this presence because once you bolt the Mat Tracks on it, it goes from being a 7-foot wide vehicle to a 10.5-foot wide vehicle. Military box, the bumpers, we put flared fenders. They were Cummins diesels, manual 6-speed transmission. Once again, one of those vehicles that saved us a lot of time because the modifications were fairly easy. It's a factory Dodge Ram, and we bolted on the Mat Tracks, beefed up the suspension, special effects, built pretty impressive plow that's on the front. It can actually flip over and go to the back. Wow! I know that Dwayne loved it. It says Hobbs all over it.
It's a wrap, 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 wrap!
Computers, man. Think about it. How many computers do you interact with each day? From grocery stores to parking garages to the phones that many of us carry around in our pockets, computers are everywhere, including in our vehicles. For Fast 8's villain, Cypher, a fleet of computerized cars was too tempting to pass up. In one of the film's most stunning sequences, Cypher takes control of a garage full of vehicles and sends them careening into the abyss. Take a look at how this insane action was pulled off as our special effects team actually sent cars flying.
I want every chip with a zero-day exploit in a 2-mile radius around that motorcade now.
There's over 1,000 of them.
Hack them all.
There's something great about witnessing a character just really coming in and taking what she wants and doing it in a way that feels unusual.
New York City, zombie cars, our cyber terrorist Cypher. She takes control over and wreaks havoc in the way that you've never seen before.
Gary had spawned the idea of the raining cars, and to do it was obviously a whole nother thing is how do we actually have cars coming out of a parking structure with cars moving?
B, marker.
This is a sequence which we call zombie cars.
We had to pick a location that was user-friendly for one thing, and Cleveland, Ohio was the one place that they were going to really allow us to shoot and not have to worry about, A, pedestrians, 2, are they really going to let you crash this many cars in one spot?
He's hitting there, is following him in. Not trying to hit him, but if he's there, blow through him.
Wow. When we first started talking about the zombie cars, we knew that we were going to have a bunch of cars driving around with no drivers in them. So we devised a system that we could put into almost any of the cars where we could have a driver. He would be mechanically connected and do high-speed stunt scenes with a car that appears to have no driver.
The sequence, they're coming from everywhere, and there's ones that are parked on the side of the road, nobody in them, they take off, and there's also some in showroom floors. Carnage from the start to the end, it never stops. 15 or 20 stunt people in stunt cars coming in from every direction.
We got a big action sequence that's taking place here.
The motorcade just turned on 7.
Make it rain.
What we wanted to create was this enormous pileup of cars.
Like, what would happen if your car took over, if you were driving and all of a sudden all these cars started to take off on their own?
Once we found 2 or 3 parking garages that would allow us to do it, we then found out that most of the parking garages there have underground subway systems in them. And the ground underneath is only like 4 feet thick, and that you're gonna punch through and hit a subway system. So we came up with the idea of, let's put steel trench plates down on top of the ground, and then we'll paint the ground like the actual tarmac. We started testing throwing cars out of this parking structure from different levels, and they each had to be on an exact timer.
And Spiro, and it was very important to him, he wanted 7 cars in the air at the same time.
It's amazing how they were able to calculate it. And on top of that, we have 30, 40 stunt guys, not to mention pedestrians down below, not to mention real buildings that can't get damaged. What JD and his guys put together, and they came to me with the math, I said, I'm not even, I'd have to go to college for 5 years to figure this out, you guys.
We have to pull these cars at an exact speed, and we're doing that using the winch on the crane and set a little trip. And after that, each car comes out in succession to land on the vehicles on the road here. Obviously, there's no one in them because they're about to be impaled by 3,000-pound lawn darts.
Here we go! We're rolling! And set! 5, 4, 3, 2, 1!
Spiro and F. Gary Gray have a fantastic eye for putting that action on film, and you know, that's the beauty of it. That's why everybody wakes up in the morning and keeps going.
You've never seen on a Fast and Furious movie pile this many cars together in one shot. You've got 65 cars all wrecking in one spot.
The zombie sequence has set our new record for destroying the most cars in one sequence of a Fast and Furious film.
I'm out of breath just thinking about all the elements that Andy and JD and Nick, the AD, and the stunt team doing a shot like this from so many people. To do this, instead of just saying, "Now let's go on a computer and just draw it in," to me, I love it.
Hey, Jack. This one. Boom.
When the team hits Iceland, no one is better prepared than Tej and his Ripsaw, me. A complex hybrid of a tank and a snowcat, the Ripsaw is unlike anything we've seen in the franchise before. And you guys, we didn't make this up. The Ripsaw was provided to us by the United States Department of Defense. Get an inside look at this unique vehicle and discover how we got our hands on one. This is heaven. 750 horsepower, 6.6 liter V8 Duramax engine with an M153 Crows remotely operated weapons station on top. Tej has an extremely positive response to this tank. It is an Army Ripsaw, it's a military vehicle that can be remote controlled, or you can get behind the tank and actually control it. This is an all-terrain vehicle. It has bullets and firing power on it, while everyone else is looking for how fast the car is, and just because how it looks on the outside, I'm more worried with what we're up against, and I'm gonna get the best odds with this vehicle.
Earlier on, we were looking at some YouTube videos of that blasting across a frozen lake, going through the snow, basically doing everything that we needed a vehicle to do. And it was just, wow, this has to be in the film. So it came together so last minute, and the whole procedure to make it happen, dealing with the Department of Defense, getting the approvals, it was a huge undertaking. And we were literally at the point, gosh, this might not happen, but luckily some great people with the US government put it together, and the Department of Defense came through, brought us 2 brand new units. And I think the remote control feature is really one of the key points of it. It can be driven like a normal tank, or it can be operated remote control. You can put the thing on a mission and keep the person out of harm's way. It's a great military tool, and it worked out absolutely perfect for our film.
Ripsaw was something that none of us had ever seen before, and when they first brought it on the ice, we thought it was going to be problematic. We thought, it's brand new, it's going to break a lot, so in the testing phase, we tried to break it. Action! We tried to say, let's see what we can do, because we know once we start shooting with it, we're not going to get parts for this thing. So let's try and find out what we're going to need to supply in parts. But we really couldn't break this thing. It was like indestructible. We jumped it off of snowbanks. We slammed on the brakes and stood it up on its nose. We turned it around in 360 circles, and this was like a tank. It was such a great piece of machinery.
It has incredible acceleration. It uses a General Motors Duramax motor for power. They can dial it up as much as they want. You know, it's just a matter of adding more boost and more fuel. And it has great suspension. Basically has like off-road shocks incorporated into a tank drive system, so you can literally jump the thing 10 feet off the ground and land it and just stay on the power and keep on going.
We're able to clutch 14,000 pounds of force in the clutching. This is touted as really the fastest or the strongest super lightweight tank in the world right now that's actually being employed in some of the R&D efforts in the Army. We're used to the desert, rocky conditions. It's a test for us because we're bringing it to the ice. And, you know, doing high-speed runs down the ice, what's it going to do? And drifting ice in a 10,000 pound, 800 horsepower, 1,200 foot-pounds of torque machine at 60 miles an hour is epic.
Having a vehicle like the Ripsaw would be a great opportunity to show the audience a shot that they would never be able to see with the tread spinning in the snow and the fire. It's something really special.
They would always drill holes, and whenever the water starts coming out of that, that means that part of the ice is depressing. It's time to move it. Yeah, move it somewhere else. We had to keep 40 feet apart anytime we stopped cars to talk. Because, you know, between shots, they're going to want to talk. They just pull up next to each other and talk. Can't do that on the ice, especially in Ripsaw. Once everybody heard that you'd sink, nobody got near him. He had nobody to talk to. Everybody just kind of went, let's get away from the Ripsaw. Hey guys, come talk to me. No.
The Ripsaw is the baddest ass tank you will ever see, and it can turn real quick. Hank Kinji, this guy had a few minutes to learn how to maneuver this thing and became a master, and he pushed the limits further than the people who manufactured it.
Even the manufacturer said, I don't know, I've never tried that before. And we said, well, we're gonna test it today.
And more times than not, my heart has been in my throat. But at the end of the day, I'm sitting there going, I can't believe I just witnessed that. I can't believe the stunt drivers here were able to do that with that machine.
It's everything that my character has always wanted, all in one. It fits his personality and fits his character to a T. Okay, y'all wanna play rough? Now it's my turn. Boom, baby! Yeah, baby!